What is up, guys? My name is Caleb Ochoa, also known as NFL Caleb 22, and this is Good Friends, Better Rivals. But I do not have my good friend and better rival once again, Ferris Muthana. He's busy with his stuff, and I'm gonna have to hold down again this week. So I do have another good friend, and I would say a competitive rival because he also does gambling segments on Lunch Break Hot Take, has gambling articles on their website. So I feel like it's a little bit of a competitive rival. But I have here Derek. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right, man. And yes, I do feel you on the competitiveness is there, even if we're not actively going head to head. Like it's crossed my mind a couple times. I won't lie.
Yeah, I get you, man. How's your gambling season been overall for this football season?
As far as the football season, it has been a rough one. I won't lie. It's been cold, but it is that type of season where you've seen a lot of underdogs perform in ways that we traditionally haven't seen. And so, there are different ways that you can approach it and go about it if you know you're having a rough streak. Currently, like you said, with the picks I make on lunch break hot takes, I try not to publicly fade myself when it comes to making those picks, but at a certain point, you start to wonder, like, all right, if the pick I am making is the losing pick, well, let me just handicap it and then go to the other side, because we see
Yeah,
it all the time. Crazy things happen in sports.
I feel, man. I've been hot and cold. Like I started a little cold, then I got in like a great hot streak. Like I had like 4 or 5 weeks in a row that I was just like on fire, man. Like I just winning weeks every week. But then now, like the past, I don't know, 2 3 weeks, I have been ice cold. I've been picking like garbage, man. I don't know what's going on with me right now. I mean, I'm trying to do take different risk and all that, and still ain't nothing working.
See, and that
But
just goes to show whether you're the better, whether you're the book, nobody knows what's gonna happen.
yeah, yeah. Anyways, man, we're gonna talk. We're here to talk about Thursday night football, the game we just saw about an hour ago. Um, Patriots, Falcons. Patriots win 25-0. Going into this game, the Patriots been playing better. Um, and a lot of the experts want to give all the credit to Mac Jones and saying he's like the second coming of Tom Brady. And I don't know about that. I think it's more of a collective. More the team is playing better. Obviously, you have Belichick.
I was gonna say, I recall there being a lot of players that opted out last year that were coming
Yeah,
back, and preseason, early season, all you heard was, wait till these guys get reacclimated and get back into the swing of things.
exactly. And yeah, so them as a team are just been playing better. Mac Jones hasn't really been spectacular. His numbers aren't, so flashy, But he's kind of got together. He's a rookie. You don't really expect that much from him. But on the other side, the Falcons coming into it, they kind of thought they got together after they beat the Saints and they get smacked down by my Cowboys, and then they go in this game and they get smacked down again. Um, but yeah, they don't look good at all, man. And they scored 3 points these past 2 weeks. That is terrible. The offense looks awful. And conversely, the Patriots, they started off slow. This game started off a little slow, but then Mac Jones started finding his rhythm, started getting those methodical drives that he always usually does, and all he really can do is like those 10-yard outs that seem to be open all game because that's Falcons were just letting them have it all game. And then the defense, the Patriots defense really won this game. They took over. They had like 4 picks, I think. They sacked the crap out of Matt Ryan, and that's pretty much what won the game. Yeah, what are your thoughts on this game, man?
I mean, you hit it square on the head. The Falcons past 2 weeks have looked just pathetic out there on the field. Like you said, to not have a touchdown in 8 quarters worth of play, that's sad. Um, I did notice, as a Panthers fan, they lost by 25 points, which is the exact same number of points that they gave up to the Patriots in the Super Bowl in that epic debacle. So there's that.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. We had a Josh Rosen sighting. You
And
know.
that 2 weeks in a row.
Oh, I didn't know we saw him
Yeah,
last week.
he was
I'm
playing
not
the
sure he
Cowboys
could have
game.
done much worse
And he,
than
he
this
threw he
week.
threw a pick in each of the games. That's how bad he is.
Okay, I stand corrected. Wait, was it a pick six?
I don't think it was pick six this game, but
Okay, well
something.
then he got worse somehow. Without playing, he got worse because he was 0-2 with a pick six.
Yeah, yeah, that dude does not deserve a job right now. Yeah, not even a backup job. But yeah, the Falcons obviously don't have their weapons. They don't have they were playing without Calvin Ridley because of his all mental stuff, and obviously they didn't have Daryl Patterson either. So Matt Ryan didn't have a lot of work with. They basically had virtually no running game. He had no blocking and no really time to get any of his guys open because he kept getting sacked all game. Because the Patriots defense been playing pretty awesome right now. I mean, they got all the guys. They got Matt Judon playing great. They got Van Noy, they got McCourty, all them guys over there just balling right now. And yeah, they took it all. I mean, they took it all out on the Falcons in this game. And the Falcons didn't have the run game, but the Pats really rely on the run game, and you saw that with Stevenson, with Harris. I mean, they ran all over them. But yeah, I wanted to ask, like, how good do you think the Patriots are right now? Like, are they one of the best teams in the AFC?
I could see him being a playoff team. Possibly win the division. It's gonna come down to. I know they play the Bills at least once. Have they played them? Have they played that first game yet? Because if they play them twice, then they can hands down win the division.
Yeah, I don't know
You
if they
win both
have
those.
played yet.
But if they haven't, if you win both those games, I mean, you're talking about being 2 games up on the Bills. Um, that's hard to overcome. It's sort of the same scenario you kind of see possibly building if you want
Yeah,
to
they play
talk
the
about the
Bills
Panthers
twice.
trying. Okay, they still play them twice. Then yeah,
Yeah,
they got a chance. I mean, they could easily. I don't want to say easily, but they have a chance to win that division. Um, and if something you've been following over the past couple of weeks, they've been rising up the boards on the odds to win the division. They've been getting shorter and shorter with each week.
yeah. Yeah, like I said, I think they're a playoff team. They could be one of the best. The way the AFC is, like, you don't really know who is great. Yeah, obviously they have a lot of good teams, but is any of them great? I don't know. Um, they could be like they could make a run. I mean, any of these teams in the AFC can be beat. And yeah, the best coach in the league. So why not? Could they make a run? Sure, I'll say yes, maybe. You know. Um, Otherwise, you have any other thoughts on this game, man?
Um, Not that I can say. Somehow Thursday night football has still survived this many years in, and we still see games like this.
Yeah, yeah. Which is well, it's good for me because I've been awful on Thursday night. I've been picking wrong like all the time because this weird stuff been going on this season. And finally, I get what I thought was going to happen in this game pretty much did happen in this game because Patriots were like a 7-point favorite. So I think most people thought that the Falcons really had no chance in this game, and they really didn't. You know, you never felt like they were in this game. Even though it really was kind of a low scoring game, still you never thought the Falcons were
Yeah,
going to.
because if I'm not mistaken, the Patriots only had like 13 points around halftime.
Yeah, yeah. But even with that, you still never thought the Falcons were going to get into it. Like at least I didn't. I
Yeah,
still
that the
thought they were
I was
total
able to
control.
catch it from about there, and yeah, it just the Falcons were stagnant. Oh, here's a sick one for you. I just happened to see Mac Jones' completion prop earlier today. The over under set at 22 and a half. 22 for 26.
Nice.
So anybody out there that was happened to be on that one lost it on the hook.
All right, man. We're gonna recap last week. And we'll start off. We'll start off with your Panthers, man. Panthers, Cardinals. Panthers get the upset, win 34-10. Didn't expect them to be like, maybe if I even thought they were gonna upset, I didn't expect to be like that. Like a dominant victory as they had, because Cardinals were coming off a big win with Colt McCoy without Kyler Murray against the Niners, which they looked pretty dominant in. So I thought it was going to be the same way. I think they were going to have their offense going, but Panthers, their defense is still good. No matter who's at quarterback, they've had a good defense. But Cam Newton's back, and he scored 2 touchdowns and got this team rolling. What'd you think, man?
Well, I mean, anybody that happened to watch the game, you saw a different energy. You saw I almost want to say a different team. Now, yes, the defense has been there, but even the defense seemed to step it up a gear. Um, I kind of touched on it with my articles on lbhcshow.com, where I've been covering the Panthers this season, and it was something I expected once the news came about. Um, and I mean, we saw it. He was on the sidelines, literally coaching up players, and I don't want to say mentoring or anything like that, but he was leading the huddles. He was marching up and down the sidelines. Like, you saw somebody that was clearly operating on, a next level mentality. Like, he's out here to prove a point. And that's kind of what he went out there and did. Um, you know, Defense came out, forced a turnover with the fumble. Then, Kingsbury decides to go for it on 4th and 1, uh, from around the 40. I believe they were on their own side of the 50-yard line, and they went for it. We shut them down, stuffed the QB sneak, and that's always a good measure of a team's energy and just their mentality. We see all the time how easy it is for our offensive line to just lean on the defensive line and the QB get that, half a yard. Well, not in this case. You saw that defensive line firing through and hitting Colt McCoy, a yard deep. Um, so yeah, you had 3 basically quick turnovers with the turnover on down, and then an interception following that on the next drive. Like, this game was over in the first quarter, and you couldn't say that about many Panthers games all season long.
Yeah. Yeah, and what's crazy is like we've seen a lot of blowouts this season. And it was like back last week it wasn't too many, but this week it's like back with a lot of blowouts, and it's that was crazy about how they blew them out. Um, yeah, and I didn't expect I didn't know what to expect from Cam. I didn't know if he was in shape. I didn't know if he was going to come back. I didn't know if he's still injured. I had no idea what to expect from him. But to see him come out, score 2 touchdowns, that was pretty good, man. And after this win, how are you feeling about your Panthers going forward, man? Are they making the playoffs?
It's possible, but before this week, you couldn't say it was possible. You could hope for it. Things like that. It's always nice to hope for your team make the playoffs when it's still on the board. But that was the win nobody expected us to get. If
Yeah.
you were trying to talk a playoff conversation, you were talking about, okay, we might lose this one, but we got a potential 3 that we can win behind it. Well, sneaking that W off of the Cardinals like that, um, basically, you're talking about a potential for a 4-game win streak, and that would put them around 8 or 9 wins. 9 wins. No, they would have 8. With 4 or 5, 3, 4 games left in the season, and 2 games with the division leader if if Tampa stays on the route that they've been heading. Um, you could see a scenario where they lock up a wild card spot and are potentially fighting for the division lead depending on how many games Tampa wins down the line. Now, me, I happened to late Saturday night, just flipping through some things, came across the Panthers to make the playoffs at plus 900. They
Yeah.
win against the Cardinals. Numbers come back out. Carolina plus 300. So that's the type of line movement you like being on the right side of.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I won't sit here and say they are going to make the playoffs, but yeah, when you start talking playoffs, getting that win against Arizona was huge.
Definitely, definitely. Let's see. What's up, Star Drew? Yes, your Patriots did win, Brandy. That's all that matters. Uh, what's up, Matt? Thanks, uh, thanks for watching, guys. Um, yeah. So, what do you think about the Cardinals? You think it's just Colt McCoy and that's why they lost, or you think do you think they have any problem going forward, or think when they get Kyler Murray, they're just going to be back on track?
Well, I definitely don't think we'll see a lot of the same issues with Kyler Murray out there, but at the same time, we have seen a couple times this season where their offense has struggled to put up points and struggled to get going. And then you've seen a couple major miscommunications. I'm still sick about that AJ Green wasn't TD, now interception because the man couldn't turn around. Like, all he had to do was turn around and I would have won that bet. But, it is what
Right.
it is. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I won't say I definitely don't think they're a bad team. Um, but I don't know, something just seems a little bit off when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. Defensive side of the ball, they've been fairly solid. I kind of expected JJ Watt to go down. Uh, I've said for a little while he's a injury prone player. He just had the ability to play through most injuries. When you actually paid attention to him over the course of a season, you constantly heard about him playing through, you know, broken fingers, torn this, sprained that, and he didn't miss games. So
Yeah.
looking back on it, well, how many games has he missed due to injury? Well, it's a very small amount. Not, well, he's done played through half a dozen of those injuries. So
Exactly.
yeah, with I don't, I think their defense might hold up. It'll definitely be interesting to see how that division plays out. Because I think we see the Rams falling off, and so a team like the Cardinals could easily step up. Um, but yeah, I don't know with that offense, something seems off there. They just one week they're blowing out teams, the next week they're struggling to break 20 points.
Yeah. I think they'll get it going when they get Kyler back. Obviously, I think we're going to be the number one seed. I don't think I might lose a couple, and I definitely think later on in the year we will beat them. So yeah, but I still think they're one of the top best teams in the NFC, if not the NFL, because NFC just seems better than the AFC right now. But the
Well,
next
now
game,
when you look at it, it seems that way, but no,
mhm,
what I think it is, your top teams sit in the NFC, but it's sort of like how people view the SEC. Once you get past those
mhm.
couple top teams, there's a clear drop off.
Oh yeah,
Over in
yeah.
the
Well, that
AFC, you have more quality teams, but you don't have, the number one team in the AFC might only be the number three team in the NFC, but you still have more quality teams. So where they're beating up on each other, in the NFC, you got sub 500 teams fighting for that wild card spot, and in the AFC,
that's
you might potentially see a 9-win team not make the playoffs.
yeah. Well, one of those more on the NFC teams, Packers, Seahawks. Packers get the win 17-0, but they don't look all that great in this win. It was very low scoring throughout the game. It was like 3-0 for a long time.
Yeah, I saw
But
that.
yeah, they get the last couple of touchdowns in like the fourth quarter, And Russell Wilson's back from his injury, but he did not have a good game at all. Maybe he's still ailing from that injury. I don't know because his passes didn't look very good. And the
Well,
Packers,
something I heard pointed out. You're coming off of basically a broken bone injury,
mm,
and you're playing in Green Bay in the snow. I'm pretty sure that didn't feel too comfortable on that finger as he was trying to throw the ball. So I wouldn't be shocked if, in this case, the weather actually, had a stronger effect on him specifically.
yeah. But the Packers defense, they've been playing good. They played great in this game. But also the Seahawks defense, they've been getting better. Like in Russell Wilson's absence, they were holding the team together a little bit. And
Oh yeah,
they
if I'm
like
not mistaken, they kept, I want to say, multiple opponents under 20 points. I know
yeah.
one they won the game. It was 13-10. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So which early in the year it was all on the defense that was playing like crap, and Wilson was kind of keeping together. But now it's been the opposite. Now the defense is playing better, and the offense has been kind of crappy. Um, but yeah, Aaron Rodgers looked not really great either. Like he didn't have any touchdowns. He threw a pick. Coming off the COVID list. But yeah, what were your thoughts overall on this game?
um, I didn't get to see it. I was able to follow the score a little bit. Um, but kind of just what you said, like the offense for Seattle never seemed to get clicking. They don't have much of a run game to lean on when that passing game isn't working. Um, like the defense hadn't been the issue. They only gave up 17 points on the day. I'll take a performance like that from any defense. I don't care what the circumstances are. Um, you telling me you at best gave up 2 TDs and a field goal? That should be a win in anybody's book. If your offense can't break 20 points, there's the problem. And so I think that injury affected them. Just off the top of my head, Seattle's not known for having an offensive line, and that's something I think that comes into play when you start talking about consistent teams. You don't necessarily have to have a great offensive line, but more consistent teams, when you start picking apart the details, they have consistent offensive line play. And when you know what you're going to get, you can plan around that. You know,
Mm,
you can know, all right, we ain't got the best pass blockers, so let's try and avoid those third and longs, and not give up a negative play or a short 1-2 yard gain on first down, regardless of what we do. Those are the types of things you can plan around. But when you don't know what to expect out of your offensive line, not to say that that's the case with Seattle, um, but like I said, more consistent play in that department usually, goes hand in hand with some of these better teams.
sure. What's up, Joe? What's going on? All right. Next game we got Titans Saints. This the Titans win 23-21. Like I was talking with you earlier before we came on, this was a bad bet for me. This was horrible because I almost won my parlay on this game. It was 2.5. The spread was 2.5. They win by 2. Um, lose parlay half a point. So this really killed me seeing this game. But Titans win 2 in a row without Derrick Henry. A defense is playing better. I've been saying they've had mediocre defense for the first half of the season going back to last year, but they've been playing better in these last couple of games. I mean, I think they've had to because the offense hasn't. Obviously the offense was running through Derrick Henry, and now they don't have him, so the defense has had to step up. Obviously, Saints didn't have Kamara. I think that's really why they couldn't get their offense together because I think he is the offense, especially when you don't have your starting quarterback and you have your backup in there.
Well,
But yeah,
I mean, let's be honest. At what point do we say that New Orleans has zero weapons? If you're saying Thomas ain't playing, Kamara's not playing, Doesn't matter who you're throwing out there at quarterback. At this point, they could run Taysom Hill out there, and we've seen, oh, that's your quarterback? Okay. Yeah. So, like, this is not the Drew Brees show with Sean Payton where you have this quarterback surrounded with weapons. This, you know, this is some things that you can't say on certain, in certain places without offending people. Um, yeah, this is just, I mean, I don't know what to say. And this ain't me hating as a Panthers fan. Like, honestly, outside of Kamara, because at this point, you don't know what you're getting out of Michael Thomas. You know,
Mm-hmm.
even if he makes a return, does he even want to be with this organization? Because the way that played out, you know, from the things I heard, more or less, it sounds like at minimum he feels like New Orleans maybe misdiagnosed it,
Mm-hmm.
did not go about the recovery plan as best he would like. So at minimum, he feels slightly jaded towards the organization. So yeah, you talking about like what's this team going to have? Because I don't see Kamara sticking around. I don't know when his contract runs out, but I'd imagine they'd be hard pressed to try and retain him.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know what the Saints are. Like I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know what they are at this point. I don't know. Is without the running back, without their quarterback. Like I don't know what their identity is. I don't know what their running team. I don't know what their pass team. No idea at this point. But what do you think of the Titans? Man, are they really the best team in the AFC?
With no Derrick Henry, no, no. Now I will give them credit. I think Vrabel has proven himself to be a heck of a coach. I don't know the exact number, but I know they've been having to deal with a number of players, whether it be, the IR list, COVID related IR listing. I saw some number where it's been north of 20 players over the course of the season. So they're definitely having to sort of fall in line with that next man up mentality, and that can definitely win you games. I don't think that's gonna propel them in the playoffs where you start talking about playing, the top best of the best. There's fewer holes to attack. There's fewer places where you're gonna find, little nicks in the armor that you can expose. Um, so yeah, they might win the division. They might, I could see them holding that out. I think the only real threat there would be the Colts, and I don't see them being consistent enough. Uh, so yeah, I think the Titans can make the playoffs, but as far as doing anything within the playoffs, I think that's where the road will end.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, man. They maybe they could because I just don't know what to think the rest of the teams in the AFC. But I mean, they could make a run. Maybe they got some running. If they get some kind of running game, I think they need that. But they could do a little something. But we'll see. Next game, uh, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers get upset by Washington, 24 19 or 20. Was it 24-19 or 20?
29-19.
29-19. Yeah, lose by 10 points, double digits. And this was the game I bet on. I thought the Buccaneers were minus, like, I think it was like 9.5. We're going to roll the football team. But yeah, that didn't happen. It was the reverse. The Washington
Yeah,
gets to win by 10.
if I'm not mistaken, Ron Rivera is 3-0 versus Tom Brady.
Damn, I didn't even know that. Oh, maybe I should look
Now
at
I
that
could
before
be
we.
wrong, but I do. If Cam Newton's 2-0 against Tom Brady, so by default, Ron Rivera is at least two
Yeah.
and zero, and I think that may be the first time he's played Brady since just basically everything that happened because they both changed teams almost at the exact same time. So
Yeah.
he didn't. He left the division, so he hadn't seen Brady. I don't think so. Yeah, but that I mean, it shocked me, but it was kind of one of those, little, pokes and, side like, hey, Ron Rivera did it again.
Yeah, man. And it's crazy because they you think after getting upset by the Saints, going into the bye, having time to just dwell on that shit and get prepared, and then you come out and you suck again. Like I don't get what's going on with them.
It might have been, AB's fake vaccination card. People was on notice. They was like, oh man, I might
exactly.
need to get a new one. Like they going around checking y'all.
Yeah, but that's the thing, man. He was out. He was out. Gronk's out. Brady didn't really have his weapons with him, so maybe it's just that. Maybe when he gets his weapons now, then he'll get back on track. But man, it's just been pretty bad. These last couple of games for him. Not look good. He's thrown like 4 picks in the last 2 games. So yeah, and I don't know. They looked bad last year in a certain point of the year last year, and then they went on the run to win the Super Bowl. So maybe that's gonna happen. I don't know. But for the time being, I'm not. I'm gonna stay away from betting on them till they show me they can get back.
Yeah, I learned that lesson a while back. Just don't bet against Brady. Like you might want to, and sometimes you might be right, but more times than not, you'll be wrong. And if it's playoff time, I don't care what the game is. I don't care whose team he's on. I'm either not playing it or I'm putting money on Brady. That was my whole approach to the last Super Bowl. Who you betting on, Brady?
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
you didn't
I
have
did.
to ask
I
me
bet
anything.
them to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you didn't have to ask me anything about the teams. Like who you got, Brady? That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for talking about the game. Everybody wants to talk about my Dallas Cowboys whooping
Oh, they
ass
played
on.
this. They played.
Yeah, they did. They kicked ass against the Falcons, who just got their ass kicked tonight.
I was
But
gonna
we
say,
won.
if anything, that game tonight made your victory over the Falcons
No, it
like
didn't. You
less.
know what? It didn't. No, it didn't because we won 43. We put 43. They put 25. We put 43 on them.
Yeah, but
We
your
won by
defense
40.
gave up points.
Oh, 3 points. Wow. Well, they would have gave up points too. They missed a field goal, so they miss a field goal in our game. But anyways, our offense went off. We bounced back from that terrible, stupid fluke loss against the Broncos. Um, and it's even more of a fluke because the Broncos went out there and got their ass kicked by the Eagles. Sorry, Adelia. That's your team, but they did, and that shows me that it was a fluke because they ain't that good. And we weren't that bad, man. We just came out there overconfident, and that's pretty much what we had. We filmed ourselves too much, and we didn't show up. And this game, we were back together. We got together, and we showed up, and we kicked ass. Michael Parsons looked great. He's been looking great for the last 2 weeks. That's like 4 sacks in the last 2 weeks. We're looking up like the rookie of the year. Trayvon Diggs gets another pick, 8 picks in 9 games. Um, Looking like defensive player of the year. So man, we looking good, man. And like 3 corners got picks in our game. Like our secondary has never looked like that.
Well, that's because y'all were playing the Falcons. I mean,
Well, even if we play bad, oh, the fluke. I enjoyed the hell out of it, but it was a fluke. Yeah. Well,
and I see
I'm
y'all
glad.
got back to using your actual starting running back, Tony Pollard.
No, that's not our start. No. Zeke is way
Over
better.
there leading rushing. I see.
No, Zeke is the leading rusher.
Not in that game.
Well, if you go by the season, he's getting all. If you Fowler's getting all the easy runs, Zeke's getting all the tough runs. If you switch the roles, he wouldn't have as many yards as Zeke.
See, you got to protect, the values. You see where
But
the value is. You got to protect that one. So yeah, we're gonna abuse the hell out of you, run you or just into people.
well, you got to use the guy who's getting paid a bunch of money. But anyways, you got any thoughts on our big victory?
I mean, yeah, no, like you said, the 43 points, that is definitely something you like to see in a matchup like that. You know, looking at it, Dak 24 for 31, 296, 2 TDs on the day. Um, that level of accuracy on the game shows that the offense was clicking. Yes, you're going to have some balls that might be 50-50, but when you're talking about a QB throwing less than 10 incompletions and putting the ball up 30, well, in this case, 31 times with that 30 to 35, attempts in a game, that's pretty good. That shows you that everybody was on the same page. You know, when adjustments were made, everybody was knew what the adjustments were and could follow them. And you know, I'm sure if we was looking through on some tape, we might find a couple of those 50-50 balls. Uh, and then just that's where apparently your receivers won out most of the time. And when you get stuff like that, it doesn't take much to put up a lot of points because, as you see, Dak didn't even go over 300 yards and they put up 43 points.
Yeah.
The leading rusher, not even being funny, but only had 42 yards himself. Didn't even have a 100-yard receiver on the day, but still had 43 points. So clearly, everybody was on the same page.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. That's why I think it was all team effort, offense, defense. I mean, we were just and special teams because we got the punt block. So I mean, pretty much
Yeah, I
all
did
places.
see that. And oh yeah, that's always something you like to see. You get especially for a touchdown. But yeah, that special teams play that gets your heart pumping right there.
Yeah, like so we were clicking on every single team on the game, offense, defense, special teams, and we were looking great, man. And yes, it was an amazing day because I started a lot of Cowboys in my fantasy teams, and I won both my games in my fantasy leagues. So hell yeah to that. But we got the Sunday night and Monday night to go over. Chiefs Raiders. Chiefs blow out the Raiders 41-14. And everyone wants to say, "Oh, the Chiefs are back. Oh, look at Patrick Mahomes. Oh, he's back to the way he was." I don't believe that. I believe you played a Raiders team that's been on the downside. They got a good win um, after Gruden went out, but ever since they've been looking like crap. So I don't believe just being this downsliding Raiders team is, oh, the Chiefs are back. Yeah, you blew them out. Good for you. Uh, I think you are what your record is, um and
Well, the record is first in their division.
but it's still barely over 500, and they've been
Well, we're
and
only
he
10 games into the season. You can't be that many
okay.
games over
So
500.
and we're 7-2.
Okay, and that's only 2 games above 500.
No, it's not. That's 5 games. That's a lot of games over 500.
No, 500 at this point in the season is 5-5, so you're only 2 games above 500 at the moment.
Well, I mean, sure. If you want to look at it that way, you can look at it that way. But I still don't believe that the Chiefs are getting got together. I still believe Patrick Mahomes is what he is. He's still a turnover machine right now, and you'll see that in our game. What do you think of this game?
Well, now me, I was on the Chiefs and minus 2.5, whatever it was for the game. So this was actually my lone win on the week was the
Yeah.
Chiefs because I won't sit here and say the Chiefs are back or first of all, where'd they go? Because it's the same people walking out there last week that have been basically walking out there every week prior, minus maybe cases. Um, but so yeah, I won't go as far as to say oh the Chiefs are back. Um, I seen the Cowboys happen to be underdog is going up against the Chiefs this coming
Yeah.
week. I don't know if that was just where the early line was at, and we might see them move into the favorite position by the time we get the tip off and kickoff. But yeah, so as far as the Chiefs game this past week, I felt strongly that the Raiders wouldn't do much as far as offensively and with points, and that's the one thing we've kind of seen out of the Chiefs this season is they still manage to get some points even when they're struggling. You hadn't seen too many games. They might hover around that 20-point mark in some of those losses, but there was still a chance maybe go for more. So that low spread, I was happy to jump on that, and that actually, and we see that worked out on the day.
Yeah. I didn't. I picked the Raiders. That was
Yeah,
a
Mr.
bad
Hometown.
game. Well, I mean, they were playing good at home, and they didn't play good. So yeah, I was wrong on that one. But yes, we are underdogs. Because we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later, coming up. Right now, we'll talk about the Rams 49ers. Rams get their ass kicked by the Niners 31-10. Matt Stafford has been looking who I thought he was, um, showing his true colors out there. He goes like 26 to 41, 243 yards, touchdown, 2 picks. It's kind of the Matt Stafford I thought would show up throughout the season. He's been hiding behind Sean McVay's system, and because I just don't really think he's that great of a quarterback. And I think you'd be getting the same results from Jared Goff, to be honest. But the 49ers won this game because they had a big running game. Defense played well, and all the weapons that the Rams been signing and acquiring all throughout the season, yeah, they didn't show up. OBJ had 2 catches for 18 yards, and Von Miller was getting handled out there. So yeah, it was a
Last time
pretty
I
bad.
checked, OBJ wasn't that much of a threat even in Cleveland.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's been going on since
I'm
the.
just saying, a lot of people might not want to hear it, but OBJ wasn't going off in Cleveland like everybody wants to think. There was a couple instances over his stretch there with the Browns, but for the most part, you didn't hear anything out of him. And to his credit, I will say you didn't hear any sort of drama stories or anything as well behind him, whether it be a bad game, not getting targets, you know. But still, OBJ wasn't going off in Cleveland. This whole, you know, oh, I got them to release me and now I'm gonna go. Well, he got his pick of whoever was out there. We might not know everybody that was involved in pursuing uh OBJ, but he got his pick, and so he need to lay in that bed because, like you said, it looks like Steph. I was a little high on Stafford going into things. I like it. Don't think he's a great quarterback. Uh, at least in the trade, I will say I think he's better than Golf. So if nothing more, that was an upgrade for the team. Um, but yeah, it does seem that Stafford might be on the beginning of a possible implosion because the past 2 weeks it basically seems like if you get to Stafford early in that first quarter, you're gonna throw him off his game, and it's just gonna be a domino effect from there.
And if Ferris sees this, I want my money because we bet beginning of the season that Stafford was going to have a crappy season, and he's starting to have a crappy season. So I can't wait till he pays me because I had to pay him on the stupid bet that I made in week 1. Packers lost, but I'm going to get my money back. I'm getting my money back from Ferris. All right, all right, man. That was week 10. We're gonna move on to week 11. And we'll start off with your Panthers game. Um, let me bring it up here. Hold on. Where is it? Oh, Washington at Panthers. Washington's coming after the big game, big upset against Buccaneers. And your Panthers are coming off a big upset win against the Cardinals. So how are you feeling about this game, man?
Oh, one word, Cam.
Yeah.
Now we got Cam versus Ron Rivera. This is the game that everybody wanted and nobody was gonna ever get. And the universe and football gods said, "Nope, we got this." So yeah, no, I'm very excited. I'll be in the stadium for this one. I am in the Charlotte area, so this year I've been able to follow my Panthers a little bit better. Um, I mean, it's gonna be a wild one from tailgating to the stadium. It's gonna be packed. I mean, like I've seen on social media where people have been scurrying to get their hands on tickets to this game. There ain't been too many times where people was acting like this over some Panthers tickets. Now, I've been a fan from day one. I was born and raised here. In ways I feel like this is my team. So like to see the way people are acting when it comes to this game, the energy and the emotion that's gonna be taking place, I'm all on the Panthers for this one.
All right, man. You got a bet on this one?
I am taking I believe it was minus 3.5 Panthers. I'm on that. The way this defense is playing, I would not be shocked. I don't know what the Washington's team points for the game are, but that could be an easy under to play because I don't see this defense giving up more than 20 points. If that number's probably somewhere around that 18, 19 range, I'd still go under that because as you just saw, team like the Falcons who's struggling, they passed on, a couple easy field goals, but when it was all said and done, they might have only had 6 points, 6-9 points on the day. So yeah, I'd definitely be on the Panthers and the -3 for that one.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, what's your approach on betting? My approach, I like following the trends. I like looking at where the sharp money is versus what the public's doing, that kind of thing. But yeah, overall, I'm like really, I try to go with the trends. But how do you approach betting?
Trends are definitely something I try to keep in mind. Something that I discovered with the Monday night game so far this year. In Monday night, underdogs are 7-3 against the spread. In some of those games, they won outright. So clearly, it may seem like the underdog is the play. When it comes to that Monday night game, maybe it's prime time. Fans being back. But I do try and follow some of the teams. Whether you specifically follow one individual team or not, you start to develop a feel for some of these teams. If you follow, you're a Cowboys fan, you're going to naturally have a little insight on the NFC East just because you see those teams twice a year. It may be 3 years from now, but you recognize some of those, support players and, oh, such and such is hurt. Well, I know who that is. I've seen what he can do, and things like that. So, some of it is trends and numbers and trying to find maybe an angle there. But I also do try and look at some of these games and, handicap them for myself. Like, what do I think the spread would be? What do I see this final score ending up being and how you get there? And, sometimes it can really help to just have somebody to bounce ideas off of and just talk something out with, because through the back and forth, you may come across an angle that you weren't thinking about recently.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I have you on here. I want to know what you're thinking, man. Make me a better man. But I got the Panthers in this game. I'm not gonna bet it. I stayed away from this just because I'm still I gotta see Cam for the whole game to know for sure that this is him going forward. So I'm staying away from this game from betting wise, but I will take them to win.
And seeing that's not a bad perspective to take on a game like that, where a lot of emotion involved. Possible, like you say, not necessarily know what you're gonna get out of a key player involved. Sometimes the best bet is to not make a bet.
Yeah. The spread is 3.5, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. Next game, I'll talk about my Cowboys. Going to Kansas City, taking on the Chiefs. This is the game of the week. Obviously, you already know who I'm picking. Picking the Cowboys, but I'm also betting on this one. This is one of my 5 picks of the week. Taking them to plus 2.5. We are the underdog. I don't think we should be underdog. I think we should be favored because I think we're a much better team than they are. They got a couple guys that are better, Tyreek and Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes, but we got weapons too. We got 3 receivers, we got 2 running backs, we got a great quarterback, and we got a better defense than they do. And like I said before, I don't think they're back. I still think Patrick Mahomes is prone to have turnovers, and you definitely. And what do? That's what we do. We turn over the ball. We get interceptions, a lot of interceptions, and Trayvon Diggs is probably going to pick him off this game. And then the Chiefs all year have been overvalued and overrated because they're always favored, and they have been awful against the spread this season. And conversely, we've been awesome against the spread. We're 8-1 against the spread. So I got to go with the Cowboys to win and to cover. What do you think, man?
I'm basically on the same page with you there. I reiterated a lot of that. I made the same pick on lunch break hot take last night. Like you said, they're the underdogs. I don't think they should be the underdogs in this game. If I had seen the number flipped around at -2.5, I'd feel maybe that was a little more reasonable. In the game at Dallas, or no, where are they playing that one?
City.
Cincinnati. Yeah, they're playing in KC.
City,
Yeah, so see, they're basically saying that's a pick'em game and giving the nudge to KC because it's at home. Yeah, that don't sit right with me. I could almost see if this was a neutral site, maybe putting that number at somewhere around 5.5 with Cowboys favored. And then maybe somewhere around finishing around that 2.5 range because of home field advantage. And KC is a place that legitimately has a home field advantage. But yeah, no, I do not see KC being a 2.5 favorite on this one.
Yeah. All right. Next game we got Colts and Bills. This is another one that I have of my 5 picks of the week, and let me just get to it. I got the spread is Colts +7 at Buffalo, and I'm gonna take the points. The Buffalo Bills have these weird losses to teams like the Jaguars. They seem like a Super Bowl contender, but Colts have been coming on a little bit in recent weeks. They've been playing a lot better. They're a 500 team right now after having like a rocky start, but I think I just don't see the Bills being that much better with a touchdown better than the Colts right now. I think it's a much closer game. And the Colts have been pretty good against the spread this season. They're 6-4, and yeah, I think I'll take the Bills to win, but I don't think they'll cover. What do you got, man?
I could potentially see that playing out. I was just taking a peek. Surprisingly, Carson Wentz only has 3 interceptions on the season.
Yeah, he's been playing really good recently.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't know. I hadn't heard too much about any sort of fumbling issue, so I'd imagine, he's not turning the ball over on that front. Jonathan Taylor, I know, what was it? It was either last week or the week before. He busted off a big game that nobody
expected. He's the leading rusher in the NFL right now.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. With Henry down, he rose to the top of that list, and he's sitting at 9 TDs at the moment. Yeah, it's definitely possible that Buffalo can't slow down. Not necessarily anything Buffalo does. Hell, Indy might be able to hold on to the ball well enough to where, they can rely on enough of a run game. The game doesn't never actually get out of hand. You don't ever actually see anybody take a big lead. Yeah, that 7's one of those sort of golden numbers when you're talking football, and that could be you might fall just on the other side of that one, like you said. Buffalo wins, but it falling in that sort of 3-4 point range.
Yeah. Yeah. Next game we got a game that's the LBHT crew will all be watching. At least Jose, and a lot of other guys in that Discord. and watch them. Ravens at Bears. It's another one of my picks, betting picks. Bears are getting 6 points in this game, and I'll take the points, man. The Baltimore Ravens have not been looking so good. They got their butts kicked by the Dolphins, who are really bad. Um, they kind of like pretty much all have it on Lamar Jackson to drag this team to wins, and for the most part, he's been successful at it. But in the losses, he's not able to do it, and I still think that they win. I think the Ravens will win this game, but they won't cover because I think this is a similar game to the last two NFC North matchups, and they're basically the same spreads of when they played the Lions and when they played the Vikings. They won those games, but they didn't cover. And I think this is exactly the same bet, and I'm going to make the exact same bet. With the NFC North team is going to cover, but they're going to lose. The Ravens are going to win. But I think it's just the similar situations. And Baltimore is terrible. It's one of the worst teams in the league against the spread. They're 3-6. They're pretty bad. And I really just love taking home dogs. So I'll take the home dog in this one, and I'll take the Bears +6. What about you, man?
I am on the other side with this one. Now, something I will say, I've heard you say a few times, the times I've been able to catch a show, like you said, you like home dogs, and that's something you stick with. That might be a part of your system. So, that's something you try and utilize. That might be something you look for. And when you look for the same things routinely, that's when you get better at spotting certain angles and spotting things. And on this one, when it comes to the Ravens, something I've tried to avoid this season, sort of in line with what you were saying with them being horrible against the spread. Them as a home favorite, dog awful, more or less. If they're a home favorite, I'm betting the other way. Now on this one, I was able to catch the line at 4.5, taking Baltimore. I think if I had seen that number at 6, I might have gone the other way on that one. Because I do think that possibly the Bears defense can get to Lamar, if not necessarily sack him, cause those things that disrupt the offense, make him get rid of the ball early, even if it's only an incompletion. There's a big difference between 2nd and 7 and 3rd and 7. Yes, they have been, the offensive line there has been pretty just garbage for the most part. Sort of back with what I was saying earlier, the teams you see consistent play out of more often have, consistent play out of their offensive line. That's something we hadn't seen out of Baltimore. They've been up and down. Some games the offensive line shows up, other games they ain't there. But like I said, in this one, I will be on the Ravens minus the 4.5 because I don't think the Bears can score points.
Yeah. Obviously, I think everybody knows my thoughts on Justin Fields at this point. But yeah, I agree with you on that one. But defense, the Ravens defense looks shaky too, so maybe they can, and that's what I'm betting on. Like I said, just look at the trends and everything. So that's purely what I'm going on, and just the past history of what they've done this season, and it just all lines up for the Ravens not to win and not to cover because that's what they've been kind of doing all season. So the next game we got another bet, another one of my bets. I got Detroit at Cleveland. Cleveland's -10 in this one, and I'll lay the points on this one. The Browns got their ass kicked last week, but I think they can bounce back, even with this big 10-point spread. And the Lions, every time it seems like every time they have like this tough win or this tough close loss or whatever game that they have, they had a tie last week. They come out the next week and they just play like crap. I mean, it seems like every single time they do that. So I'm just gonna bet on that. That they just come out here after that, tough time that they had playing pretty much a whole extra quarter, that they're gonna come out flat and they're gonna get their ass kicked by the Browns. and hopefully Baker Mayfield doesn't play because that'd make me feel a lot better. Because I think Case Keenum would do a lot better job, but we'll see. Either way, I still got the Browns.
Who's the backup in Cleveland? Do you know?
Case Keenum, he won a game. He won a game when Mayfield was out.
Who are they playing?
The Broncos, but they covered, so I think they can cover. I think they can cover here, no matter who's that quarterback.
You mean that tie didn't reinvigorate the defense? The Detroit Lions to go out there and
Like
eat
you
someone.
thought that on the like I said, you thought that on the other games where they look, they won, they just lost close, but then the next week they play like crap. So, oh man, I'll take the Browns. What about you, man?
Man, like, would it be cruel to say to be over here rooting for a potential tie again? Like, that's what I think about when I see two bad teams play each other. It's like, man, that game that's gonna be a tie. Well, you can't really say that because Detroit pulled that off last week.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, with these two teams, I would definitely not take that large spread because if Baker's not out there, I mean, I'd put that number more around 4 or 5 points, and that's not because he's that caliber of player, but you know, you got Nick Chubb who still may not be 100%. No more OBJ. Uh, I'm not sure what's going on with Tom Landry. And this right here, this scares me. All right, yeah, no, I wouldn't touch this game. The leading receiver for the Browns, Njoku. No said, like, yeah,
Well, I gotta change up some. I gotta get a little risky. I've been picking bats, so I got a
Oh,
little
I
risky.
completely feel you on that one. Trust me, I completely understand. Because you put in the work and the grind, and you want it to be right. You want to be right, and it's like, damn, how? Like, it's one thing when you that close, like, but when you on the other side of the room looking at it, like, nah, this ain't work. But yeah, so yes, I mean, most definitely Detroit has played bad enough that they could, Cleveland could easily cover this. Uh, so just yeah, I want to see Detroit get that first win. That's what. So yeah, I'm taking
All right, so you got
Detroit.
the Lions.
Yeah, you want to talk about being risky? That's the risky move. I'm gonna take the team that was happy with the tie.
Yeah,
Like
I
I'm
guess.
gonna rain on everybody's parade that's saying that Detroit's gonna go 0-16 in the 17 game season.
Yeah. All right, man. We got next game. We got Texans Titans. I got I got the Titans in this one. Texans just look awful, and that's pretty much all I got to say about this one. Uh, Titans won had the best record, one of the best records in the league right now, and that's pretty much all I got to say about this game. What about you?
Yeah, I think I'm in that same boat with you. Because now if you want to coach that, might potentially eat some kneecaps. I done heard some crazy stories about Mike Vrabel over the years. So there's that. But yeah, Titans win that one.
Yeah. All right. Next thing we got Packers at Vikings. Vikings keep games close. A lot of the time. So I wanted to take this game, but I know I just couldn't do it. Because I don't know the records between Packers and Vikings. I don't know how Aaron Rodgers can just put it on them. So that's why I stayed away from this game. But I do have the Packers winning. What about you?
Yeah, I think the Packers will win, but spread I caught here says 1.5, and that might lean, to what you've been saying and what I've seen few people think through the season. The that keeping it close, that pat statting mentality, Kirk Cousins won't be anything, get a couple garbage time TDs. It'll, look close on the scoreboard, but really what never, factual or, any chance of, coming back in the game. Uh, so yeah, a game like this, you're talking about basically a pick 'em. I'd take Green Bay if I was to bet on it. I wouldn't even fool with the spread and just put it on the money
Yeah.
line because, that close, even if it's a minus number, you're still talking about 120, 130 to play the Packers. So yeah, I'd still be on the Packers.
All right. Okay, we got Dolphins at Jets. This is a garbage bowl game. Um, I'm not gonna be excited to watch this. I don't think anybody really is. But Dolphins got a big win against the Ravens. Jets are starting Joe freaking Flacco. So yeah, I'll take the Dolphins in this one. Even though they're on the road, but they are the 3-point favorite. But yeah, I don't know. I think they both kind of suck. So I ain't gonna bet on a bad team. So I just stayed away from this one. How about you?
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't bet on this game. That's for sure. Um, though I'm not. Yeah, I couldn't trust either team in this matchup because on one side you got Tua and the bad hips. On the other side, Joe Flacco. Enough said. Um, like we're talking about a guy the Jets had on their roster at the beginning of the season, cut, got rid of, said bye to, and then traded for, and then sat back and watched Mike White go off, get injured, and then finally said, "All right, we'll put Flacco in."
Yeah.
Yeah, man. There's probably some really bad prop bets in that game. I
Absolutely.
mean, like, because that's what comes to mind when I see a game like that is like, what do the prop bets for the wide receivers look like? Because, I mean, never mind the fact that, necessarily doesn't have a top receiver on either side, really. You're talking about somebody not even being able to get on the ball. That might just be the easiest under bet in the world. But yeah, I wouldn't touch that game. Hell, Jets, because Flacco gonna Flacco somebody.
All right, man. I think my last of my 5 picks of the week. Saints at Philadelphia. I got the Saints plus 1.5. The Eagles, every time they get like some dominant victory, they go in the next week and they play like crap. There's examples in week 1 where they had that they big victory, and then they lost in week 2. They beat down the Lions in week 8, and then next week they lose to the Chargers. So I'm pretty much been. They had a big victory against the Broncos, and I think this week they're go out there and lose to the Saints. Yeah, the Saints coming out. I think they're coming off a loss. Um, let's see. Let me look it up. Yeah, they're coming off a loss to the Titans. But yeah, I think they'll bounce back. I mean, they still played well against the Titans, and yeah, I think the Eagles are going to come out and lay an egg, and Saints will cover the spread. Also, road dogs have been really good this year. They're 56-34-1 against the spread. And this is a road dog, so I'll take it. And Saints have a winning record against the spread. They're 5-4. Also, another reason to bet on them. So that's my pick, man. How about you?
Well, I was sitting there listening to what you're saying. I hear a lot of good points. Like you said, road dog the records in their favor by a number of games. Shoot, what was it? Something else that popped in my head. I just had it pulled up. A little bit of a zigzag theory. You know, with the coming off of victories and how they might play and stuff like that. You said you were going with
Yeah,
the
Saints,
Saints in this one.
Saints plus 1.5. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that happening because you got a veteran coach in Sean Payton. And that's the one thing you can say about that team is they've never been at a lacking for coaching. And in a
Yeah,
game like this, that's something that can come into play. As a coach, when you can tell your players something as simple as, you know, you ain't gotta have any real facts to back it up, but these dudes don't know how to win in back-to-back weeks. Oh well, your team's already believing they can win just because they won last week, so they gotta lose this week. So yeah, I'll take the Saints in that one.
yeah. All right. Next game we got 49ers at Jaguars. Another kind of crappy game, even though the 49ers got a big win against the Rams. Um, Jaguars don't really look very good. They got a good win against the Bills, but I still got 49ers. Still think they're a better team overall. Didn't really want to bet on this one because, I don't like betting on bad teams. So I just stay away from that one. But yeah, what you got?
Yeah, I'm looking at this spread, and the 49ers just handed out the biggest stomping to the Rams and are still only 6.5 point favorites against the Jaguars. That right there tells you just how bad the 49ers are this year. Because the Jaguars have been awful. I've seen, I want to say 3 or 4 times this season where their opponents were double digit favorites. And that's just, those aren't spreads you typically see in the NFL. You might see one or two, every other week or so. They come about. They're not, unheard of. But yeah, when you start seeing multiple double digit spreads throughout a season, you are a bad team. I don't even think the Lions have seen such heavy spreads this season. So yeah, I definitely would go the other way there and just picking them 49ers. But that's definitely one of those bad games. You probably would boil down to something like Kyle Shanahan out coaching Urban Meyer, which
Yeah.
might. I'd love to hear the little chatter and the handshake if the 49ers win that one. Because I imagine Shanahan might have some slick comments for the college coach coming up to the NFL.
Definitely.
Like, nah, listen here, I learned from original OGs that know how to do it. Now, if you want, you can come over to my staff and I'll teach you a few things. Because this is the NFL. It's like Alabama every week.
For sure. Next game we got Bengals at Las Vegas Raiders. Um, you call me a homer if you want. Taking the
I know
Raiders.
it's coming.
Take yeah, spread is only one, so I just didn't even bother with that because I don't even like those type of spreads. So, but I'll take the Raiders to win because Bengals haven't been really looking good past few weeks, getting beat down by the Jets, just embarrassing. So yeah, I'll go Raiders.
Yeah,
Um,
anytime a spread's that close, you're talking less than 2 points, even that 2 point range. In my book, you better off uh, just taking the money line because you know there's too many different ways you can lose that on the spread, depending on which way you go with it. And you better off taking the money line. If they happen to be the short dog, then you get a little plus money if you hit. Like there ain't no real advantage to playing the spread over the money line in those situations, the way I see it. But I just don't think the Raiders. Well, I don't think the Bengals got much of a defense either.
exactly. These are two teams that are
Yeah,
just downsliding right now. It's like, yeah, it's flip a coin.
pretty much, and that's what that's basically what the spread says. This is a pick 'em. Flip it, call it, whatever it is. That's the winner. Like we don't even need to play this game Sunday, y'all. But you know what? Since you want to be the homer, I'll keep it in the family. Since my mom's is the Bengals fan, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bengals.
All right. All right. We got NFC West matchup. Cardinals at Seahawks. Cardinals coming off the loss, as well as Seahawks coming off a loss. I'm not sure if Kyler Murray's back. I think it's like, I don't know, coming down to Sunday whether he's going to play or not. And if he is, I'll take the Cardinals. That's why I picked them in our pick 'em. So I don't really get, just because there's a question, I'm not gonna even try to bet on that one. So, but yeah, we'll take the Cardinals to win. What about you?
I'm trying to figure out why the Cardinals are only -2.5 because if we're talking about Murray not playing, Seahawks favored in that one. I mean, Wilson coming off, if we were talking last week, I could still see fading Wilson, coming off the injury, stuff like that. Uh, but we're gonna have basically indoor weather at Seattle, and something all last week with the Panthers game because I follow the Panthers. Cardinals were talking like Kyle Murray was gonna play this past Sunday, and it was a game time decision. Well, if it was a game time decision, that usually means they're 80%, 75%, in that, last leg of recovery for coming back. And here we are, they got a whole nother week to let him recover, and it's still, it is a game time decision. That makes me wonder if this injury and potentially not necessarily more serious, but isn't rehabbing the way they'd like.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I've been a bit of a favorite of Seattle this year, even when Geno Smith was out there. The way the spreads was lining up, I'm gonna go with Seattle in this one. Because healthy Russell, good weather, um, the possibility that there may not be a D Hop and Kyle Murray on the other side of the ball. Yeah, I'll take Seattle.
All right. So we got Sunday night, Steelers at Chargers. Steelers coming across the West Coast. Um, they have this bad tie against the Lions. Chargers haven't been really looking all that great either. But I still think they're a better team overall. They have better quarterback. Don't know if Roethlisberger is even going to come back this week. I think he's still on the COVID list, but he might be off it by Sunday. Still, I'll take Justin Herbert and the Chargers to win this game. What about you?
I think if Roethlisberger comes off the COVID list before Sunday, Tomlin might chop his foot off. Um, I'm just saying, like, it seems like if you don't actually physically kill Ben, that the Rooney family is going to try and walk him out there as the quarterback, no matter what the circumstances are. Because they literally said, all right, we're not going to pay you the money we owe you, and we're going to get rid of you unless you do everything we say in these negotiations. And he was like, okay, sure, no problem. Yeah, whatever you say, boss. Yeah. But yeah, no, Chargers are definitely a better team. I took them minus the 5.5. Like you said, better quarterback. They probably at least have a equal defense, if not better defense. Got better components. I know some of the stats I've seen on the Steelers defense throughout the year. They've had just awful against the rush. So yeah, I'm gonna be on the Chargers for that one.
All right. Last game we got Monday night. We got Ferris's Giants going onto Tampa Bay. Brady's not been looking good. Giants actually got a good win. Their defense has been playing better. Um, so I want to pick the Giants. I really do want to pick the Giants in this one. But I can't. I can't bring myself to do it. I would. It's not one of my best, but I definitely would take the plus 11. Um, but I didn't make that one of my bets. But hey, that's a bonus bet, I guess. But I'll take the Bucks to win. But I think the Giants cover.
Well, since you didn't take them with the bets, I did take them with the bets because I am on the Giants. Where I got it, I got the Giants plus 11.5. I don't know if I said it earlier. Underdogs on Monday night are 7-3. I'll ride that. I'll probably ride that for the rest of the year unless that flips around, because those three victories, if I'm not mistaken, were week 2, or the three losses, I should say, were week 2, week 3, and if not week 4, I believe week 5. So earlier in the season, so we basically seen underdogs on a run on Monday night. I don't know if it's fans being back in the stands, you know, I don't know if, everybody just got the vaccine card hookup, and so ain't nobody worried about missing games. Um, I don't know, but I'll be taking the underdog, and you give me a big spread. There's been at least one other time this year where I was on the Giants, a big spread. Uh, I feel, did they play KC this year?
The Giants?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. They played them on Monday night.
Okay, I think that might have been the game, but yeah, it was another big spread. Took the points, took the Giants, and that game came down to, the Giants almost winning
Yeah.
out. So, yeah, give me the Giants in 11.5.
Yeah. There you go, Ferris. Um, we're high on your Giants, but
But Nick's still gonna finish below these Hornets, baby.
all right, man. That's all the games for the week, and that's pretty much the show, man. Yeah. Thanks for coming on. Where can they find you?
You can find me at dweatherly90 on Twitter. I do come on the lunch break hot take, and do a betting segment with them. You can catch me in the chat there. Uh, as I said earlier, I'm writing the Pounding Panthers Chronicle for the lbhtshow.com website. You can find that under the tailgate tidbits section. Um, and so yeah, if you got a
All right.
question or anything, you want to come at me, feel free to drop a DM, drop a comment, drop a message. I think, Caleb might feel the same way on this, but we're up here just trying to pass on information and knowledge. We ain't
Exactly.
necessarily right. We won't, necessarily be experts, but one guy may know something that the other guy doesn't. One guy may see something differently. And that's really how any of us get better in this. Because as I said, don't nobody know what's going to happen. Don't The books don't know. The bettors don't know. Sharp money don't know. We all just trying to figure it out.
Exactly, man. But yeah, you can follow me at NFLK22 on Twitter and Instagram and everything else, pretty much. And yeah, you can find how to watch other ways to watch the show. Links are at the bottom. And yeah, thanks for watching, and thanks for coming on, man. Peace out, guys.